Is this side spinning?
Go back right. Hi, Mark. Yeah, righto.
That's the best skid we've ever done in here.
I think it might be.
Welcome back to the Skid Factory, where it's almost time for the presidential inauguration. Since we left last time, we have been fiddling around. I've imported a more appropriate fuel and ignition map into the ECU from Old Cock's car, believe it or not, and it's running reasonably well for an untuned vehicle. We drove it into Old Cock's, where they put it up on the four-poster and had a bit of a fiddle with the exhaust. My main concern was that the catalytic converters that are from 1986 may have been damaged from fuel not being distributed properly in the inlet manifold from the carburetor. It turns out that they were some weird ceramic ball bypass catalytic converter that probably didn't do much anyway. It's interesting to see that. I've never seen one of those before, but
They were refillable.
yeah, you got to service the catalytic converter, change the ball oil when you're doing a service. So it was pretty interesting. So they've been replaced with a couple of 200 cell metal catalysts. We replaced the centre muffler with another one and retained the rear. And all the original piping was actually pretty reasonable and about the right size. So we just basically rotated things around and made it tuck up against the floor higher. Welded some flanges in so you could actually take it off, and it sounds pretty good. It's quiet as, but you can sort of still tell that it's a V8. Hopefully that's what Mark wants, because that's how it is. We machined the rear brakes because it's got a bit of a pulsation in the pedal. We'll have to test that out when we head down to the tune. And we also replaced a pinion seal, which was much more fun than, not fun than it should have been, because it is a weird setup that's got like a speed sensor inside the pinion flange. Sort of hard to explain, but you had to take other bits off and more bits off and stuff just to actually see the seal that should have been right in front of you. But we eventually found one. We actually got a seal from AutoPro, so cheers, Joy, for looking it up. So now we're ready to go for a trip down to Maroochydore and see Kai at AHT Performance, Andrew's High Tech. We got the Subaru tune there. Normally we would head down to the Hoffs, but he's a long way away and Kai's not, so no offence, Hoff.
This is the perfect
I'm not
road.
sure that this requires your 2,000 horsepower dyno, to be honest, because I don't think it's going to make that much.
This would have been the perfect car for a road trip anyway.
It would. It's nice and comfy. It's got Chesterfields.
Does the cruise control work out?
The cruise control does not work, and that could be for one of about 15,000 reasons. I did have a viewer drop in the other day and drop off some wiring diagrams. So cheers to Lee with the craziest looking R33 Skyline I've ever seen. Please put some pics up on our fan page. So we've got some diagrams, but they are all exclusively in Japanese, as you would expect. So I've had a little bit of a poke around at them, but it's quite confusing as I don't know kanji. So that's difficult. Might be better just replace the cruise control with a more modern setup anyway. It's pretty haggard looking. Other than that, everything seems to work pretty well. We'll make the road trip, throw it on the dyno.
Road trip, 20 minutes down the road.
That's a road trip for me.
Yeah.
And see how much power we can muster. Well, more importantly, make it run properly. And that's the main part of dyno tuning.
Yeah, so what we can see here is the green trace here is the voltage that is active at the injector, the switching side of the injector, and so we can see.
So that's when it's.
Yep. So battery voltage is when the ECU is
yeah.
doing nothing, and then as it comes to ground is as the ECU pulls it to ground for a period of time, and then because that we're running a low impedance injector in this engine, it needs to be pulse width modulated to modulate the current ramp through the injector to stop it from overheating. And so as we can see there, we can actually see the pulse width modulation there, which is then affecting. So we're measuring both the current through the injector and the on time. Why we're doing this is because that the injectors we're using, we don't really have super good data for. So we're trying to create our own, just with a little bit more science behind it rather than just smashing numbers in, just so we can actually see the behaviour of the injector.
So to get dead times and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Just get it a little bit more accurate so that we can make the maths in the ECU work properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're back down at Andrews High Tech with Kai. We got the car up, bolted onto the dyno already. Woody had a big night at bingo last night, so he's had a bit of a sleep in, so we had to get going. In the meantime, we've been fiddling around, or Kai's been fiddling around with injector setup. This car has low impedance injectors, which have to be driven by the ECU differently, so we didn't have that set up right. So Kai just fiddled around with it and explained to me how high impedance or low impedance, peak and hold works. So always learning. Pretty interesting. I don't think anyone ever uses low impedance anymore, but in this case we had to, because it was the only type they have that has the hose tail on the end of them. So that's all set up. He's fiddled around with ECU stuff, and now we're just going to try and make it work.
What's your thoughts on the President, Kai?
I've never seen one before. Honestly, when I apart from the video, I'd watched the build-up videos, and I knew what it looked like from there. But yeah, still, even in person, it's a very long car. But no, very, very unique. Yeah.
And the old school Y44, you done tuning anything like that before in your life?
I've done a lot of pushrod V8s. Yep, done a lot of pushrod V8s. That's but not a Nissan version. I mean, it looks it looks like it's been copied from some of the American architecture and stuff like that. I assume it's going to tune very similar to them. It looks like it's a wedge head or something like that. So yeah, but
it's got alloy heads.
Yeah, it's
Fancy.
It's should be interesting to see how it goes. No, it's a cool thing.
Sweet as.
So it's got no air filter on it at the moment. We are going to put the original setup back on it. We've taken it off because it's got a tiny little flap airflow meter on it that is going to surely choke it. So we're going to tune it without it, and then I'm just going to chop up the airbox and put a pipe on it. So we're just going to run it without the filter at the moment, so it's tuned correctly for no restriction, and sort it out afterwards. You ready?
Ready? Let's do it.
In the back seat, Alan.
This is the worker's position.
Got that aircon on in there?
I think it's permanently on, eh?
It's funny how close this map is, eh?
What paint did you use on that exhaust?
Black paint.
What?
Black paint.
Black paint. Was it heat paint?
It was caliper paint.
Oh, is that why it's gloss?
Probably. That's all they had. Paint's paint.
It's on fire.
It's alright. Calipers get pretty hot, dude.
We're just saying we don't think this thing's going to make a hell of a lot of power. Just going through some of the steady state tuning, it's showing that maybe 120 to 150 at a maximum, I'd reckon. Yeah. So, not the most efficient engine.
Factory spec. It's only 200 horsepower at the engine, probably with nothing connected to it
Yeah.
from factory. Maybe we should disconnect the aircon, just unplug it, pick up 10 horse.
Not many engines you see peaking nose over at 4,000 RPM.
When you bolting that turbo on? Or turbos?
Supercharger.
Supercharger? What a Harrop.
Just a massive GM 2-stroke blower.
We don't have, you got a lot of fuel system left, you're only 55% on the injectors, so it can take a lot more.
Seems like the logical thing to do. We might be able to make 200 at 14 pounds.
Yeah. We said 120, but I honestly, it's not really going to make any more than that.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as it runs properly.
We haven't even, it's the cooling system hasn't even complained at all. Like it literally no
There's
fan.
not enough combustion heat.
Oh, Al, you should pass me the gloves and the sunnies in the back there.
What gloves?
They should be on the back seat somewhere just there.
No.
I'm looking at the mirrors on the side here, but they're actually in the front guards. Oh, you've got the sunnies on. Okay, where to?
Shop bros.
Even just out the highway a bit, we'll just make sure it cruises nice on the highway and stuff.
Alright,
Good.
no worries at all. I need those aviators too though.
I think you should put the hat on.
I don't want to put the hat on because I know what you look like, so I don't want to put it on.
It's supposed to look like a gimp.
I don't want to look like a gimp.
That's the whole point.
No, it's not. Done. I'm new age. I'm new age.
Like a hipster chooch. We made 126 furious horsepower, which is, I don't know, I suppose that's alright considering it's supposed to be 200 from standard. Is what it is. It's not what it's about. We're just trying to make the vehicle run properly and cruise and do things nicely. So, just out on a bit of a test drive now. So, probably the thing you can take from this is a lot of tuning is not about full throttle, full noise runs. It's about making the car operate properly in the where you drive it most of the time if it's not a drag car, which is everywhere else but full throttle. Bit scrapey there, Mark. Need to bash those guards a bit. So, Kai's fiddling around with stuff. What are you doing, mate?
Just making sure that when we get out onto the road and we're actually driving the car, like you said, how you're going to drive it, that it's working properly, that we don't have any excessive fueling corrections or anything like that, or any drivability concerns, you know, any stumbling or hesitations or anything like that. So,
How's it feel up the front, Woody?
Feels nice. I think the speedo's out, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mark did say that.
I think it is, because it's got a speedo thingy.
Well, everyone keeps passing us, so.
No, I think it's... I don't know.
Oh, there's this thing here.
Yeah, there's one of those things there, so I'm assuming it's probably not correct.
And it's a smooth driving car, it's quiet, it's nice. I don't know how to work the aircon because it's
No, I
too many
don't either.
buttons, so
It's getting pretty hot, actually.
that's weird.
So one of the methods that Kai used to make the car drive nicely on the road is what he calls torque optimization.
That's it, yep, torque optimization. We're operating the engine not at a full load operation. We're operating it through the conditions and under light part throttle conditions that we see when we're cruising, just like this on the motorway. And then we go through and we actually are measuring the torque output of the engine with the dyno, and then we are tuning the spark timing so that we're getting to what's called as MBT, which is max brake torque timing, or minimum timing for best torque is another common term for it. And yeah, it's really important that you do that, because that's actually where a lot of your fuel economy comes from, is actually from the timing, not so much the fuel itself. It's by getting the energy out of that fuel with the timing.
So this particular engine's a pretty old design. It's from the 60s, so it loves a bit of timing.
It does love a bit of timing.
Generally speaking, the more modern engines that have got a better combustion chamber design don't require timing, and it'll just cause detonation, but this thing is up in the 40s, isn't it?
Yeah, under cruise it's up into 40s, and then under wide open throttle it's, in the mid 30s of timing, which is very similar to like a small block Chev. But yeah, like Al said, like a modern engine, for example, like maybe a Mark 7 Golf R or something that's direct injected, it's not uncommon for those to be in the zero, like in the single digits or even negatives of timing, because the chamber is that good. It just doesn't need timing to create peak torque. It's commonly referred to as pumping loss when you have to run a lot of timing. It's just due to the fact that the chamber is of a design that requires a lot of timing to get
So
to
you've
get
got to
the burn
start
through
the
it.
burn so far
So early,
forward, because
yeah.
it takes so long to burn, which is
Exactly.
obviously not ideal.
Yeah. Good. What happens if you mat it, Benny? Oh,
You've got to push harder and it'll kick down.
That's flat knuckle.
how good's that?
Smooth as silk. Smooth like Laramie cigarettes. We're heading back to the shop now, and maybe we'll stop and get some snacks. And that's it for the President. Mark is going to fly back up and take it on the 11-hour trip back to Sydney with his driver, Mark.
Oh, we've got to put your wheels in there for Benny too.
Oh yes, we do. Don't forget.
Yeah, I just remembered that now.
What are we going to do next week, Woody?
I don't know what we're going to do next week, because I've got...
Might do some Bedford. We've got a fair bit of stuff there for it.
When can we start working on my new car?
What new car?
My new four-wheel drive.
Do I have to work on it?
Yeah, because it's our workshop.
Is it? No. Oh, we can do that. Whatever you want. Either or. We'll be here next week anyway.
I'm going to end up working on my car by myself, aren't I?
Maybe.
Jerk.
Is it interesting?
Yeah, kind of. It makes some
Is it interesting to anyone but you?
It makes some interesting noises.
That's all we got. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Kai and Andrew from Andrew's High Tech for the excellent tuning job as usual. I've actually learnt quite a bit from hanging out with this, what I would call a young man, because I'm old. So you never stop learning.
It's a pleasure.
Hit the merch store.
Merch store?
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
That helps. Helps us.
Patreon,
Patreon.
ad-free videos.
Like, subscribe, bell, all that.
Follow Alan on Instagram, even though he doesn't use
Yeah. I don't use Instagram, but you can follow me so I can brag
Follow
to my
Barrel
children.
Brothers on YouTube.
Yeah,
Go watch
check
Mark's
out.
videos.
If you want to see more of this car, that's where you're going to see it. It's a pretty cool thing. So check out Barrel Brothers.
Where's the smoker shop? go, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Skid Factory, where it's almost time for the presidential inauguration. Since we left...
You've been thinking about that for the last
I
5
have.
minutes, and you stalled.
Presidential things. Can I do that again?
Yeah, sure.
Mars.
Hey man.
Cheers, bloke.
Oh, what do I got?
Here you
I
go.
thought you passed me one.
I'm just doing a little outro. What do you think of Mark's car here, mate?
Mate, she's pretty good.
Do you want to go fart on the driver's seat or something for him, or what?
I think it's got a bit of a tang inside already. No, it's cool, man. I saw it in Sydney, and it's a pretty awesome car.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Alan, where's that air filter? What are you doing over here? What's going on?
It's still in the development stage.
Is it getting tuned like that? It is, isn't it? This is being filmed before the tune, obviously.
Yeah, we're going to see how restrictive it is.
Yeah. Oh, okay then. Where is it? Where's the box?
It's in the back seat.
Oh, okay.
Even got a K&N for it.
Any closing words for Mark while we're here?
That's it, mate. I hope that wheel buffs up okay.
Oh shit! Oh, was that you, Alan?
I reckon it was Murray.
You need to do it bigger than that.
That's all right. That's fine.
I can't even read that.
Well, I can't. I told you I can't write.
Do it right up the top of the no garage.
Well,
Big
give me something
Mars.
to take that off there.
Just write Big Mars. Perfect.
Take that one off there.
Like a pro. No, leave them both there. That's good.
I don't like
No, leave them both. Big Mars times 2.
No, it doesn't like it. I don't like it.
Alan's busy businessman.
No, Woody's just talking shit.